Feeling unsettled in your current job? Here are 5 things to consider to see if it's time to move on to that next career. The first thing I noticed was that feeling that I got when I arrived at work. It was those mornings where you're sat there not willing to go into work any earlier than you absolutely have to, that started my reflection on whether this was somewhere that I wanted to stay long term or whether it's something I could tolerate even in the short term. Well, another boat just went past and has made this a little bit of a rocky voyage. Number 2, that feeling of being dumbed down by management. Have you seen, well, this meme, where it says, this is what I think I do, what my friends think I do, my boss thinks I do, and what I actually do. Now, these always make me laugh. I always find them quite amusing. But if your boss's perception of your role and your perception of your role differ hugely, there's scope for you to feel undervalued and have your whole... This has got a bit of a wobble on today. When the perception that you have of your job differs hugely to the perception of your boss, it really breeds a culture of undervaluing employees. And that can make your skills feel undervalued, your experience feel undervalued. And over time, being treated like that will breed resentment if it hasn't already. The third one was really feeling like an outlier. There was a string of flights that I did, string of days at work, where I kept hearing this phrase, "You're not like other captains." But the more I heard it, and the more it was reinforced that it was being said as a compliment, the more I realised that I was perhaps diverging from the path that all my colleagues were on. There were at least 10 people I knew that were either in the process of leaving or building out their own side gigs so that they could transition away from flying full time. So even if you find that you are starting to feel like an outlier, there will be other people around you doing the same. And that's not to undermine your company, my company. People leave Apple, Facebook, Google, people leave the best tech companies in the world, they leave the best law firms in the world. So don't feel that you not finding this workplace perfect for you makes you odd or makes you an outlier. The fourth thing, and I think this is an important one, is stress and depression. Being in a job that you no longer enjoy is at best slightly depressing and at worst can be a constant stressor on your home life, your whole mental health. Is it really something your family should have to live with on your off time, you being stressed from your job? I mean, it's worth questioning, I think. So put a comment in below if you found yourself just stressing over small, insignificant things from your day job whilst you're at home. And lastly, and I'd like to say this is the biggest one, but probably mental health should be the biggest one. But to me, just that feeling of being unfulfilled in your day job, where you get home and you don't feel like you've achieved anything, you don't have a sense that you have put something good into the world. It sounds sort of airy-fairy, but for me, there was no personal sense of fulfillment, and that's definitely something that made me realize that this job was limited in its life. So when you started out in the job that you're in now, whatever career it might be, when you started that career, did you get that sense of fulfillment? And if you did, is it important to you? If it's not, then more power to you. You can stay in that job and take the paycheck and just go home and forget about work. That's great. I know a number of people that hate their jobs, take the paycheck, and overall they're, boats are rocking. Overall, they're not too unhappy with their position. But for us, we are potentially more willing to give up the safety of that paycheck to have a creative outlet, to be home more, to spend more time with our families, to allow our partners to work full time whilst we stay home and look after the kids. There are so many reasons to want to take this step and change career. Comment below with what's driving you to follow these videos and even consider changing careers. So in summary, we've all had bad days at work, we've all had bad periods of work, and finding if your disdain reaches the criteria to quit your job is something that is all self-reflection. But if you truly loathe arriving at work, struggle with the frustration of minutiae, feel like an outlier, or are aware of the mental health impact that your job is having, and if it's a negative impact, it's really worth taking the time and having that self-reflection moment, because those are the moments where your subconscious and conscious can meet, and you really work out quite where you are in that decision-making process. You may find that upon reflection, you've already checked out and it's time to change. So a big thank you to everyone that subscribed. It's around 60 people so far, and I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. If you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting that button and maybe hit the notification bell as well to stay up to date with every Tuesday afternoon video that is released. Ooh, what a gorgeous day. 20 degrees in the UK in the middle of October. We're going to go out and play on this little boat with my dad, have some father-son bonding.